Hello, I saw this website earlier, Classic Plus Introduction Survey. So I thought I would take the survey and see what, I don't know, see what questions. I have no idea if this is tied in any way whatsoever to like Blizzard or actual Classic Plus. But anyway, I thought I'd see what it is. You know, for all I know, Blizzard might be like paying attention to this and it might dictate what some kind of Classic Plus project may or may not end up being. So yeah, see what we got. So what faction? Honestly, it's for the Alliance. Because, you know, Blizzard made Alliance first. They made Alliance a little bit, you know... Well, initially at least, they made them a little bit more, like, fleshed out, it feels like. Honestly, it's always, like, human. Human or dwarf. We can pick multiple. It's not whatever's BIS. Although, I say that. Most expansions where humans get the free stun removal thing, every man for himself, I do pick human kind of for that, but it's also because, like, I don't know, I like human. Simple. Class, you consider your main, it's got to be paladin, right? Human paladin or a dwarf paladin. Anything that can be a paladin, so not a gnome, not a night elf, none of this elf shenaniganry. And then the rest. Tauren, as soon as you can play a Tauren paladin, I'm like, yeah, dude. I played a Tauren paladin in Legion, had a great time. Tanked the way through Argus. Other than that, like, I wouldn't really say that anything else is like a main. We don't need to do. We don't need to. It's this one anyway. It's yeah. It's not closer to the left number. Let's be honest. How often? Let's say like maybe not 40. Yeah, right. Every day if I can. What is your experience with the various iterations of vanilla/classic World of Warcraft? Check all that apply. I don't know. I wasn't actually playing at launch. I was playing like maybe 2005. Private. Yeah, I played a bunch of that. Did I play? What is Season of Mastery? Though Season of Discovery, Season of Mastery. Oh no, Season of Mastery is hardcore, right? I didn't bother with hardcore. Classic Anniversary. I'm playing TBC Anniversary now, I suppose. But it's not classic. Whatever. It's Anniversary. Season of Discovery. I missed out on Season of Discovery. I played a little bit of classic. I've never played WoW before. No. Only expansions beyond vanilla. Honestly, I'd be tempted to put this just because, like, I played vanilla a bunch. And then I actually got banned in vanilla. My little level 37 rep paladin. God, that was a slow experience. Yeah, he actually got banned. And by the time I came back, I didn't even realize it, but TBC was out. But yeah, so I'll put that. I barely played like vanilla, really. What role do you usually play? Honestly, mate. Honestly, I'd whack various. Every time I make a character, I think, oh, I play a paladin because it's like, oh, maybe I want to tank, maybe I want to heal. Honestly, DPS ends up being the least thing I play because I feel like DPS is like there's a lot more competition with DPS. Whereas with tank and healer, it's like if the boss is attacking you, you're doing fine, you're winning. And the healer, if the tank is not dead, you're winning, you're doing fine. So we'll go EU. Which of the following labels describe you? I wouldn't say hardcore raider. Level auction house, not really transmog. Honestly, casual raider maybe. I like getting to endgame. I like doing a bit of raid. Get into like on like the times I've played retail, I wouldn't really go more than like heroic mode. Maybe I'd step into mythic for a bit of fun. If I was in a guild that was doing pretty well, then maybe. How likely are you to play it? Oh, I can't wait. I'd absolutely smash an ungodly amount of time into that. Would you pay a box fee for Classic Plus? That's a doozy of a question. It's that. It depends. I wouldn't want if it costs more than that. Well, it's not that I wouldn't play necessarily, but I feel like that's the sort of thing where Classic Plus I would want to see would be something where it's like it's vanilla, put out vanilla as is, and then like patch in some stuff over time. Treat it like it was like an alternate reality where it's like instead of it being TBC, it's instead they're like, oh, there's a new raid. Although I suppose you'd want leveling zones in there, so you'd want Classic Plus to ship with some different leveling zones or some different quests first as well. So maybe you would, but. Because I suppose I'm just thinking more like endgame stuff, but no, you'd want there to be like a decent amount of content through the questing zone, add in some extra stuff. I don't know. Would you spend money extra upfront cost? I don't think I would. I think a subscription. I think I would pay a dedicated subscription fee for Classic Plus, separate from retail. Depends what's shown and promised. if they're bringing out like an expansion's worth of stuff, honestly, I'd pay like $20. But I feel like you're asking like 40 to 60. That's insane. Although they will, because they'll add like a mount in there. I mean, that stuff, they can't be doing that shit with Classic Plus, really. Realistically, if they're really doing that shit, like the whole part of the whole spirit of Classic Plus is that like everything's out there in the world for you to get, for you to acquire, to work towards. And if they're just like, here's this really cool mount, pre-order and you'll get it, it's like, fuck off. Get out of it. Stop doing that bullshit. Yeah, no, you know what? Fuck it, no. Well, nah, we're gonna argue. It depends on what's shown up on this. If there's a bunch of stuff, yeah. But if you're putting in like pre-order mounts or like super duper bonus deluxe edition for $84.99, which comes with a free fucking treehouse, like get the fuck out of here. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you feel about Classic Plus if they changed how the game looked fire? Hell no. No, not having. I don't want Unreal Engine. That's like grim. Part of the charm of vanilla is the way that it looks, I feel like. And I would even say like modern, like I'm like not as much of a big deal as Unreal Engine, but like it's not my cup of tea. Probably like a 4, maybe. Animation, same again. I don't really want any. Like, I don't think it's bad to put it in the game if people want that. But this is, I'm only saying like 4 would be even 3 or 2 or 3 would be if it was like one or the other. It's like, oh hell no. But if you get to choose, then it'll be more middle of the road, I suppose. UI, on the other hand, I'd put that more like 7. Honestly, I mean, most of it I don't mind. Will be the range for nameplates. That needs to be upped a little bit. That's convenient. And then the other thing is like party frames and raid frames. I don't want to use that vanilla fucking raid frame. It's garbage. I don't want to use the vanilla party frame. It looks fantastic if you're just DPSing. You're just some mindless hunter sending their fucking pet in to wipe the raid every 5 minutes. That's fine, man. But for like the actual players that are like having to heal shit and tanks that are like keeping an eye on the healer's mana and stuff, you want to have that nice like raid style party frame, nice and readily available. So honestly, yeah, I'm not too bothered about like all the other stuff. Although I say that having like edit mode wouldn't be the worst thing, because most of the time when I play classic sort of stuff, I would have move anything. So you'd have like move anything, bartender, stuff like that. So player frames, but the animations and models and stuff, I like. There's a charm to it. In fact, you know what? I'm putting that down to 3. Maybe spell effects not, but like actually nah, fuck them. I don't want it. I want the classic like look. Like even when I play classic WoW now, I turn the graphics down a little bit because I don't like. There's a certain. I'm such a miserable old man, Jesus Christ. But there's like a certain sheen that is like too sparkly, man. I don't want it. How would you like Blizzard to handle the server rollout? Ooh, what have we got? Many servers at launch. Some PvP, some PvE, a couple RP. I definitely think there should be a one RP server. I think there should only be one RP server. In fact, I don't think it's good to have multiple RP servers. That's a bad idea. One massive RP server. Consolidated list, like an SOD with consolidation happening over time. That's something I do think. Sorry, a condensed list. I do think that they should be condensing servers. Let's not be having like 10 servers and like 7 of them are just dead. But noobs have no idea what any of that means and just want to play the game. And Blizzard's like, hey, you know what you should do? You should join this server with 9 people on it and have a great time never doing Molten Core in your entire life because it'll be impossible. Great. No, just merge it. Let's not fuck around with that. That feels like a very easy thing to solve. You can transfer characters across realms, transfer them off of that realm, and delete the fucking realm. You know what I mean? Sometimes it feels like Blizzard just stares problems in the face and just goes, yeah, we're just going to leave it as is, dude. Fuck it. That server's dead, so we'll just recommend people to go there and that'll fix it. Instead, people will just join that server, realise it's dead, get invested on it and go, shit, I'm going to have to spend real money to transfer my character off of this shithole. So, anyway, consolidation needs to happen. 1 mega PvP server with faction balance enforced and 1 mega PvE server with no faction balance. That's a bit weird. I mean, I do like the idea of like 1 big PvP server, 1 big PvE server. It depends on the population, depends on like stuff, sharding, I suppose. Or just 1 mega one server mega that lets people opt in. Well, then it's not really 1 server, is it? If you can have like an opt-in opt-out thing like PvP, like war mode, then it's not really like one server, is it? Because you're just playing in a whole separate world. It's the same server, I suppose, in like capital cities, but then I don't know, what's the difference really going to be? Like, you're going to shard the hell out of capital cities anyway. I would be inclined to say that capital cities and stuff could even just be like a separate instance that like anyone is in, and make it just crowded to fuck, and it's like insane, and there's like RP events going on over there. It's like when I played Argent Dawn for the first time, you walk around and there's like some Worgen guild doing an event out in the back of Stormwind. It's cool, man. You get to see all this wacky shit. Players like adding like story into the world is great. So make that as crowded as possible, but the open world, you could just have that be like a PvP open world and a PvE open world. Like, I don't know, maybe on same server, I guess, with war mode, or maybe split it onto two, but man, I don't know. I feel like I would want to say, honestly, have like a PvP server, a PvE server, and an RP server. Although I'm also on the other mind of saying just have a mega server with the opt-in. But I do feel like there should be an RP server, specifically for like, it's so much more entertaining to just like hang around in areas on an RP server where there's actual stuff happening. Even if you don't RP, you get to just like watch these like interesting little events and stories. But there isn't, I don't want a couple RP servers, that's way too much. Like, nah, one. I mean, retail WoW for the whole of Europe, I think, has like one RP server on the entire region, Argent Dawn. So like, and that's like a banging server, tons of people. But then I suppose you got the battle groups. Oh man, what? I don't know about I don't like this faction balance thing. I think that's a bit like, I don't know, that's got to be rethought out. But I'd be inclined to just say one mega server, like crowd it like fucking nuts. There'll be sharding anyway. There always is, you know. How do you feel Classic Plus had an element of seasonal servers resetting every couple of years? That's a weird one, because like I quite like seasonal stuff. I played on a Wrath of the Lich King server that would do like a 12-month cycle, and I played it for like multiple years, and it was great. But I think with something like Classic Plus, I think one of them, regardless of what my opinion is, one of the most important things is that there is at the very least like a server that goes up and that shit never goes down, and the progression on that server is just constantly like people should be able to like have a server that is the server that will never get reset, never go down, that will never never get transferred off to something else. Or I think there should always be a consistent server like going. But then I don't know. The idea of seasonal servers, that's like the whole point of Classic Plus. Feels like it should like be progressing. It shouldn't get to a point and go, right, that's that. Now let's just call it a day, stop development on it, loop that shit back, and keep this shit going for the next like 7 years. Why not? Fuck it. Like, no, make more content. You know what I mean? Keep adding to it. Fucking add like, do a Warcraft style Kultiris thing instead of whatever that garbage expansion that had the Kultiris in was. You know what I mean? There's some assets that you could reuse without having to have fucking Azerite power. Bullshit. In fact, that's not a bad idea. In fact, you could reuse Kultiris assets just without whatever the rest of the bullshit was. Have it be like a naval expansion. That's like neat. Anyway, resetting. I don't know. I like the fresh stuff. I think it depends on a lot of factors. Not sure, but there should always be one server that starts and like never fucking ends, and people can just play that forever. You know what I mean? 20 years, like, you know, straight up. Layers, yeah. Layers are like, honestly, in this day and age, unless it's like, do you want dead servers with not many people on, but you can do quests whenever you want? Or do you want layers where you can do quests, and then obviously they can then tweak layers and be like, okay, the server's just launched, we're going to have a shitload of layers, but you can kill Hogger sometime tonight? Or do you want to just have no layers, and it's like, good luck, mate, you'll fucking see Hogger once a week? Yeah, we'll have layers, you know. Anyway, in-game system. Should the size of raids be reduced from 40? Hell no. I mean, then whatever's 40-man raiding stays 40-man raiding. Whether or not they want to make more stuff for 40-man raiding, that's a whole nother cup of tea, man. And I think they should. But I think that they should, you know, mess around with stuff. You could have like more like a dungeon raid with 10-man stuff, and you know what I mean, like Wailing Caverns originally. I remember a developer talk thing where they were talking about how when they put out Wailing Caverns, people were running it with like 20 people in the group, and they're like, this shit's easy, man. What's the point in this? And the developers are like, didn't really, just because you can do that doesn't mean you have to do that. And like, you can do it with 5 people, but stuff like that. You could do like different raid sizes, but definitely keep 40 man, because that shit is whack. It's crazy, like in a good way. It's really good. I don't think there should be any flexibility. I think if it's a 40 man raid, that's part of the adventure. Is that you've got to spend part of your evening getting 40 people together to try and go and do this thing, and then it makes it even cooler. I think that's so like important to keep the 40 man vibe. That's a massive part of like vanilla. Should dungeon finder be implemented? I'd be inclined. I would feel like I would rather just immediately say no. I mean, like, yes, do it, and it's do it like it's done in Modern WoW by auto grouping. That's like a hard no. Like that option can just burn. Like yes, but only to group you, still to travel to the dungeon. That's like I think honestly, what I would rather see done, I suppose, is whatever the dungeon finder kind of is. Oh wait, what server is that? What am I thinking now? What server was I playing on? No, it is on TBC Anniversary, isn't it? Where you kind of you just sign up for a dungeon and it's not automatically grouping. There's just here's everyone else that signed up for a dungeon, and you can just like invite. But even that, I'd be inclined to just kind of leave it for just like trade chat and stuff and local zone chat. You could have the recruitment board thing as well, that add-on. You could somehow have a go at implementing that, whether you want to use it or not, because it's just using the chat. It's just showing what's happening in trade chat and stuff, and showing calls for groups for stuff like that. So that's a potential. I'd be inclined just to say no, honestly, and definitely not teleport. Should summoning stones outside dungeons be implemented? I think, I'm kind of inclined to say yes, but I would be tempted to honestly say that, I can't remember, do warlocks even get summons? Can warlocks summon at all? Or is it like one time per use summon? I'm not sure. I'm tempted to kind of say no, because I think grouping up as a raid and journeying is kind of fun. If you're going to go and spend like 2 or 3 hours raiding, is it really a big deal that you spend like 4 minutes traveling to the raid? No. And that's kind of like, that could be kind of a neat moment. If you're only raiding like once a week, yeah, group up. And I'm thinking leveling, you should probably really, if you're going to go and if you want to do like dead mines, you're going to be hanging around Westfall, just farm mobs around Westfall while you try and like find a group or something. If you're like in Loch Madan trying to find a group for dead mines, it's a bit like, why don't you just go nearby? I get you could be like questing in Loch Madan for efficiency or something, but like, let's have no summoning, fuck it. Should there be heroic dungeons? I think I want to say no on that. And the reason why is I think that if you want to have a harder dungeon, you could maybe split a dungeon into multiple areas. It's like with it's like Stratholme having like a living side and a dead side. You could do something like that, where it's like maybe the dead side is like kind of the easy dungeon and the living side is like way harder. Something like that would be better, but I don't think it's a good idea to have like a dungeon variant normal, and then the same exact dungeon but the heroic variant. I don't think that's very fun. I think it's convenient to create an extra step of gear. That's convenient, but I don't think it's necessarily a good thing to actually sort of have heroic dungeons. I get that there's the thing of like, ooh, get your rep up and get the key for the dungeon and stuff. Oh, that's kind of neat, but I don't like the idea of a dungeon from like, I suppose from like a roleplay sense. It's like, I'm going into this dungeon and doing this thing, and then tomorrow I'm going to go into the same dungeon and do the same thing, but things are slightly different, but it's the same things. Nah, make a new dungeon, make a harder dungeon. I don't like the idea. I'm not really that keen on any of these things where Blizzard can just go, hey, let's do the thing that we've already done, but just like change the color on it, or just add 20% health to everything, or just add 50% damage to everything. That's like, what you could even do, maybe, is kind of to a degree like, let's say, Dead Mines and Cataclysm, where it's like, you can have Dead Mines normal mode while you're leveling, but there could be some kind of like, I wouldn't call it heroic, although maybe you could, not heroic in the sense that you could do normal mode at level 60, but it's like heroic is basically, it's like Dead Mines at level 60, where it's like, things have happened, whatever's happened in the dungeon has progressed, and now there's a harder mode of it, but it's not just the same thing. It has to be like different. I think that kind of works. How has the story progressed from when that dungeon was normal mode to now that dungeon is in a heroic mode? That's important. I don't want to have a dungeon where it's just the exact same thing, but it's buffed and it's harder, because that's not interesting. That's fun for a gameplay loop, but we don't want a fucking gameplay loop out of vanilla. Gameplay loop is retail shit. I don't want to do the same mythic dungeon on 10 and 11 and 12 and 13 and 14 and 15 and 16 and 17. I want to do a dungeon and explore it and have a great time, and then cool, I want that item from that boss, so I'm going to do it a few more times to get that. Cool, that's fun, you know what I mean? Add more, there should be like lots more content, rather than it being like, here's 6 dungeons, do them 13 times each. How about let's have like 26 dungeons? Put the fucking time and effort in. I don't know. They did it for vanilla, I guess. There was a shitload of dungeons. Do it again. We're fucking paying for it. Jesus. Should there be, wow, that's a rant. Should there be rated PvE in Classic? No. I won't, no. I don't think there should. I don't think taking like leaderboards, hell no. Leaderboards are like, that's don't bring outside shit into the game. Like a leaderboard, what the fuck's a leaderboard in terms of like Azeroth? That's weird. Prestige levels, what would that be like? Get to 60 prestige, now you get something, whatever that something is would have to be like, I don't know. Mage Tower, that's a different thing. Mage Tower is like just a difficult challenge that gives you some neat little reward that isn't going to buff you up in any way, but it's just a neat thing to like, can you defeat this challenge? Little solo challenge. That's fine. Mythic Plus, nah. I don't think there should be Mythic Plus. I think that's not the spirit of vanilla. The spirit of vanilla is not like, let's get in this dungeon, let's just, no comms, absolute silence unless you need to talk, and let's just like do this as quickly as possible. That is like the opposite of the vibe of Classic. It's like you want to step into like a deep dark cavern and look around and go, oh, look at this fucking place, this is weird, and oh, the music in here is great, and you know, look at things. I think that's nice. Rated PvP, that's kind of that's a whole another thing, I suppose. Rated battlegrounds, honestly, I feel like no, just have battlegrounds. I think arenas there's a place for arenas maybe, but nah. Should AoE looting be implemented? That's one of those things where like, honestly, I feel like I'd say no opinion, like, can do. I'm not going to like, suppose I'm not going to be like massively upset. I can't think of like a reason why I'm like, hell no, AoE looting is fucked, like, but then also I'd kind of be like, kind of rather not, I suppose. Yeah, you know what, I'll say no. It feels a bit weird. I like the idea of like picking up the loot from each item. It's one of those convenience things where it's like, it's a tiny little thing that is basically insignificant, but when there's like 30 of these basically insignificant things that are just gone, there's a vibe shift. And why not keep the insignificant things, keep the vibe? Anyway, what features of world buffs would you like to see? Oh fuck, what do I think about world buffs? I would be inclined to say that world buffs should be for the world and not for the raid. I don't think world buffs have a place in raids, but then again, you don't have to world buff. It's a player problem, not a game problem. I think it's just a bit weird that we have raids where it's like, you can do this raid no problem with way less gear than you currently have, but you're going to spend like hours getting buffs and being best in slots so that you can do a raid that's like I'm so much more in favour of just like keeping a bit of difficulty for a raid. Vanilla raids and stuff, not difficult, let's be honest. You do not need world buffs. It's not going to be like, it's not going to make or break it. And if anything, I would even be inclined to say, if I'm like raiding with a guild and we're clearing through a raid, and if us having world buffs means that we don't wipe a single time and there's nothing eventful that happens, I would rather not have them. I don't mind a raid here or there. Let's have like a bit of a laugh, you know. Keep it a bit more like relaxed. Slow the pace down a little bit. You don't need to like smash through everything in the quickest time possible. But on the other hand, I think if you are like at a point where you're like, you've progressed through this, you've done it a lot of times, then the buffs should maybe be there. You know, I'd be inclined to just say world buffs don't belong in raids. I think world buffs are like super cool to be like hand in the head of a Nixie and then ba-bam, everyone gets like a big buff from it. That's really cool. And when you go out in the open world for like that hour or 90 minutes or whatever, that's really cool. I like that. But I I don't know. I don't think they have to be in raids. They shouldn't really. I wouldn't bother. Just play better. If you feel like you need a world buff in a raid, then either play better or B, make the class like not shit. Because there's classes, I feel like there's classes in vanilla where it's like, but I need my world buffs in order to actually be able to perform the basic duties of a damage dealer. It's like, well, that's just the problem with the class. And, you know, this is Classic Plus. Maybe let's, like, iron some of these things out a little bit. Even the playing field a little bit, you know. How would you feel if Classic Plus trimmed the capabilities of add-ons and weak auras? Honestly, I'm happy to see them go. Yeah, I'm happy to see them go. Combat, I don't need... I'd be happy if they just got rid of them. Fine. Don't mind. You don't need any add-ons. Like I said earlier, you have add-ons for, like, move the UI around a little bit and stuff like that. Other than that, I'm happy to just not have them to a degree. Let everyone just have the same, like, vision of what there is without any, like, weird things. Should mount level requirements be lowered? Nah, keep them the same level. I don't think people need mounts run around slower. It is what it is. It's a slower paced game. Should flying mounts be implemented? No. I don't think I can't really think of a reason why you would implement them unless there was like the only single case that I could think would be like instead of having a flying mount like purchasing a mount of flying anywhere, if it was like what was it like Sholazar Bazin? No, not Sholazar, was it Storm Peaks where you could get like the loaned Wind Rider reins and there's like you can only use them in this one zone, and this one zone is like a flying zone. That sort of thing, if there was a new zone where it's like that, yeah, I can see that. But it's flying like everywhere? Hell no. No. No flying and like... Nah, dude. We take the roads, dude. We take the roads, man. So no flying. Outside of in, like certain scenarios, but I wouldn't even really want to see those scenarios. Should guild banks be implemented? You know what? Honestly, I'd be inclined to say guild blank should. I would maybe lean slightly towards no opinion in the sense of like, they don't have to be implemented, but I think from an RP standpoint, that's kind of neat. Having like a guild shared space, that's a vibe thing to a degree. And I think that's a kind of interesting vibe. Does it diminish stuff though? You have your personal banks anyway, so you can fit a shitload of, so it's not like you're like lacking for like a locked away storage, but I do think guild bank, there shouldn't be a thing where you can just plop down a guild bank chest in the middle of a raid. No. You need to go to the bank next to your bank to go to the guild bank. Having depositing gold in there and stuff, that'd be kind of neat. Like, I think that's nice, having like a shared guild gold thing, maybe repair from the guild bank, I suppose, but then I don't know, from an RP sense, that feels a bit weird. That's just like, oh, every single blacksmith in the world has a fucking credit card linked up to the guild bank that can just like swipe that shit. I don't know. I'd probably rather just get rid of that and just have it so it's like you go to the bank, you put stuff in the bank, you want stuff out of the bank, you have to go to the bank. So I think, yeah, I'd say yeah, the guild banks. Should Classic Plus have achievements? I think they absolutely could do. It would add a whole nother sort of game for certain people that just want to achievement hunt and stuff. Are there really like, I don't know that there's necessarily, yeah, no, you know what, yeah, screw it, we can have achievements. That's like not a vibe, that's not like, it's not making the game easier. If anything, you're having it harder, but it depends kind of what the achievements are, or like, although, I don't know. Well, let me try and think, would there be like an achievement I wouldn't want to see in the achievements? Not really. No. Should reputations be streamlined / made easier to level? Not really. I don't think they're difficult, right? You do dailies for you have a faction, you want to increase how much they like you, you do favors for them. Simple as. I think that's as it is. I don't think, unless, do they mean like, like Wrath of Lich King, where it's like, grab the tabard and do any dungeon, and it's like, you're representing that via the tabard, so you get reputation. I wouldn't mind thinking about that. I wouldn't, to a degree, bear with me, I wouldn't mind that Wrath of Lich King tabard thing, but I think it would be way, 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 way lower, because Wrath of Lich King is like nuts. You can just level up rep to Exalted in the grand scheme of things, no time at all. I think if it was like a fraction, in the sense that like, you can't level your reputation to Exalted by just wearing a tabard, like that you're going to get nowhere near Exalted, but you do get some little tiny, it should be, if they're going to do that tabard thing, it should be like a tiny, tiny, tiny little trickle that is just a nice little bonus, but is not a viable way. A daily is going to be, one daily is going to be the equivalent of like 10 dungeons with the tabard on, you know what I mean? But it's like, hey, you may as well just have the tabard just a little, and you'd have to be like, you know, revered already, so it's just to like help you get to exalted a tiny little bit maybe. But it shouldn't just be like, do like 3 quests for them, get to like friendly, and then boom, put the tabard on and we'll just dungeon for the afternoon. That's not a vibe. It should be a tiny trickle if they're going to do it, but if not, just no. In fact, I'd just say no. Leave it as it is. Transmog? Nah. No transmog. Hard no. Not even going to like talk about it, because like, you wear the armor you're wearing. That's it. Full stop. Whether or not you could add like dyes or something to your armor, that's potentially a chance. But, you know, transmog, no. There's no way. I don't want it's like, that's weird. Whatever you're wearing. And if you see somebody wearing something cool, that's cool. Should a separated collections inventory be implemented? Toys, mounts. That's a tough one. And I'm kind of inclined to say no, just in the sense that I like the idea that if you want a toy or a mount, you have to hold that toy or mount. It's just like if you're in the middle of nowhere and it's like, I can summon 12 different mounts and I just pull them out my fucking asshole, I guess. Like, no, keep it a little bit more grounded, right? If you want to use a mount, you have to carry that mount around. If you don't want to waste bag space, you put the mount in your bank, sorry. More reason to go to the bank. Nobody goes to the fucking bank. It's just like long-term storage. How about let's like not convenience the inventory so much that you can just like, whatever, you don't have to carry anything, it is what it is. Like, nah, let's go and, you know, grab stuff. So no. Should Classic allow GDKPs? No. Fuck off. Should the level cap ever be increased from 60? I don't think it's necessarily like a bad thing. I mean, why is there a level cap increase? It's so that there's like more room to grow, so that the gear can keep extending on. But like, do you need to have a higher level for that? Could you just have like classic just extend on and on and on and on without having to like level up? Like, you've done your leveling. I don't know. I'd be inclined to say that it feels a little bit weird to do the whole adventure of getting to level 60 and then spend like a couple of years. You're like, there we go, I'm at top level, I've reached the top level, and I'm doing this like end game, I'm saving the world, so to speak. And then it's like, anyway, we found this new area over here and you need to like carry on getting, I don't know, it's like, I thought I was like at end game. I'd kind of rather say like no, but I'd also wouldn't mind, like, depends how long after launch. To a degree, I kind of don't mind, but then it would just be like, what would it be like TBC? I would rather it not. Like, nothing wrong with TBC and stuff and Wrath and stuff. Maybe not from beyond there, but I don't know. I'd rather just keep with the vanilla vibe, pack out vanilla, add a shitload more stuff to it. No opinion, just in case, because I'm like, it's like, not the worst thing ever, but it's just like, why would you? It's not that I'm like against it. It's just like, why do you want to increase the level cap? What is that going to do for you? Give you more time to level? Like, give you more of a reason to quest? Give a different reason to quest. Have like a bunch of new quests, and you got to do these quests so that you can actually do like a raid or something. You know what I mean? You don't have to force people to like level. Like, people will do quests for other reasons than just leveling and stuff, I suppose. Should there be new zones? Yeah, I think there should be. Straight up. Like, I don't know if it would be like the Outland, Northrend and all that, but like, yeah, new zones, right? You can add little bits here and there. There are dead areas across Azeroth, but yeah, new zones, new quests, new stuff, I think, yeah. Especially for the leveling experience. You keep the XP rates at 1, and you add a little bit more variety, then there's less. Like with vanilla, I think it should be a very slow leveling experience, as it was, because, you know, TBC and Wrath squished it a little bit. You should have a long journey, but I think it shouldn't necessarily be this thing where it's like, okay, I've run out of quests, time to just kill boars for like 4 hours. But nah, have a bunch of extra stuff. More zones, yeah. I mean, I want new zones. If yes, where in Azeroth or beyond? I would be inclined to say, like, I'm not really that into the whole like other dimension thing. I think there's like more stuff around Azeroth. There's like vague little bits from Warcraft 1 and 2. It could maybe, but then also you could get a lot of value by just adding to stuff from the main 2 continents. So, but then anyway on Azeroth is like Kultiras is a solid choice. Kultiras was like a major part of Warcraft 2. I think Cortyrus has a place. Yeah, I'd been kind of saying him around Azeroth, but I'm not that keen on the idea of like, oh, let's do another dimension shit. It's like, let's keep it like, nah. Let's keep the dirt on the ground, man. There's trees, there's animals, there's beings walking around. When it's just like, it's a fucking floating broken wasteland in the twisting nether, it's like, oh, fucking hell, it's a bit heavy, man. Should new content be added for leveling quest slow? Absolutely, yes. There should be like new stuff while leveling. Straight up, that's like classic plus. There's new things, a new experience while leveling. Whilst the old stuff is still there, you can do that, but there'll be new stuff that you'll just be like, oh shit, there's some other person in the town here who wants you to go and do some other thing. Should leveling be sped up? No. If anything, you could turn it down a little bit. You know what I mean? You can level up in like 5 days played. Fuck it, make it 10, bruv. Fuck it, really fuck over those people that want to just sit in Scarlet Monastery for 4 days straight. Like, fuck them. Even slow it down, but yeah. No, it's good. Keep the vanilla pace as it, because vanilla was a bit more like lengthy than TBC and Wrath. But keep the vanilla pace, add a little bit more like things to do. Should there be more class-specific quests? Yeah. Not even just to unlock stuff. Like, yeah, it should be like, go and check in with... Like, what was it? Legion did that a little bit with the class halls and stuff. It could absolutely be, like, more specific quests. Little bits of, like, gear and stuff every now and then. It's a new way to, like, get new bits of gear in the game. Bits of gear that will, like, maybe even have special effects that are, like, relevant to your class that do a little thing for a while. But then that's a rough thing, because that'll be, like, if you get some special effect for your class while leveling, you're going to get rid of it at some point. I don't know. But yeah, there should absolutely be more class-specific quests. New way to get items into the game. Interesting things. Should there be more epic quest lines? Fuck yeah, why not? Big old legendary weapons, like, cool little things. But get some fucking proper writers in there, not this retail bullshit. Whoever's writing shit on retail, get rid of them, man. Honestly, instead of just hiring random fucking people based on, like, coding skills and shit, honestly, go to, like, Turtle WoW people, go to, like, Epoch people, go to people, well, there's no fucking, I don't think there's any people working on Epoch anymore anyway, but get the people that are actually passionate about the fucking game and, like, build them up a little bit. The tech side of things, Blizzard's got handled, man. It's their fucking game. They have the technology. What we need is the passionate people that enjoy the game, that want to play the game, that want to make the game better. Get those people on board. Write some fucking quest lines. Have some fun. I don't want to hear a fucking, like, CEO get involved on, like, what should be fucking done. I don't want to have, like, marketing saying that we should do a specific thing. No. Have people that are fucking... The whole reason vanilla was so fucking interesting was because people would play, like, Ultima Online and be like, this fucking sucks. I could do this way better. And so they fucking did. So when people make Turtle WoW and go, retail fucking sucks, I can do this way better. How about don't fucking shit on them legally in court and instead, like, get them on board? I don't fucking know, whatever. Maybe they are secretly on Classic Plus, who knows? Which of the following best describes how you like to see changes in Classic Plus to old raids? I mean, I prefer them how they were. Tune them as needed. I mean, tune them as needed in terms of, like, I don't know, you make, like, Balanced Druid viable. You make, like, you know, I don't know, just make classes fucking viable, and if the class's power rises, what I mean by this is, like, only ever make the raids harder. Don't ever make them easier, because vanilla is not a difficult expansion. It's not a difficult thing at all. Now, when you're saying mechanics, though, I'm talking, like, subtle things in line with the vanilla. Let's not be having any of this bullshit mythic stuff where it's just like turns into this ball aching fucking brick wall that you gotta smash into 47.5 times until you finally get the boss down. I don't think that's good. I'd rather them either be as they are or tune them as needed. But then, like, what do you mean in changing power player? Like, the power player is not going to change significantly. It's just that instead of having like a 40-man raid where there's like 28 of the most powerful classes cranking out massive DPS, we now have an even amount of classes because all the classes have actual viability. You know what I mean? Instead of it just being like DPS are just like warriors, mages, rogues, just stack warriors. In fact, fuck it. Instead, it would be like, okay, we'll have like a feral druid cat and a balanced druid and a elemental and an enhancement shaman, and because there's a reason to have them, because they've changed the class in some way. I don't think that means that power should be like going crazy. Power should be like basically the same, if not less. You know what I mean? I'd almost be inclined to say like tone down some of the outliers, bring up some of the underliers, and like. But then I don't know. You kind of want a bit of wackiness here and there. Keep the talent system open-ended so you can like do some weird build. But yeah, I don't think they need to make things. Definitely in no way whatsoever should anything ever be made easier for like raid stuff. I'd prefer to just say keep them as they are. Maybe maybe, but keep them in the spirit of the original raid. Absolutely, don't add in some like crazy fucking spell effect and shit. This should be keep new raids. There should be new raids. Propose raids that already exist in the world, plus create some new interesting content. Yeah, I'm up for that. Like, you could do, like, all sorts, right? Like, I don't know, you could have, like, the raid of Booty Bay, where all the fucking goblins have just, like, gone greedy, and you need to, like, somehow take, or something, you know, pirates have taken over, or, like, some, like, Azshara thing in the underwater, or, you know what I mean? Like, all sorts of, like, weird stuff. Look at Warcraft 1 and Warcraft 2 and Warcraft 3, and scour through them, and all the shit that hasn't been, like, they just got cut. Make something out of it. There's all sorts of stuff to be made. But yeah, I think there should absolutely be new raids. I mean, where are we going to go Classic Plus wise? It's going to like extend on. You're going to need more raids. Anyway, the player. Should Classic Plus have new playable races? And if so, which of the following categories would be acceptable? Yeah, new playable races that already exist. Never before seen. I'm dubious on that because it's like, why have they never before been seen? I don't want this thing of like, the Mary Sue Island filled with Mary Sues have just appeared, like, nah, dude. Just, like, things that make sense. You could do, like, weird things. Have, like, ogres. Fuck it, why not? Fucking have murlocs, why not? But, like, again, this comes down to writing. Write in a reason why. Let's not just have this thing of, like, we've just made some fucking thing up, and we've given it some, like, moody backstory. I don't know. I'm just thinking of like retail where they love doing this thing of like, we've made a race and they have like real problems that mimic real world problems, and it's like, how about there's some new race and they're just some fucking assholes and you get to play as the fucking assholes, because why not? It's a bit instead of it being like, their tragic backstory that's like a social issue. Which, like, I'm all here for like supporting social issues in real life, but let's keep that in real life, maybe. You know what I mean? I don't know. New playable races that exist, yeah, fuck it. New classes, I don't really like this thing of being like, yes, but only that have already been in WoW. It's like, we're not trying to tread the path of fucking retail WoW. We want to try something different. You know what I mean? I'd be more inclined say no. I don't like this idea of being like, let's just do what we've already done in retail to save money. I don't like this idea that Blizzard is going to be like I've said, mentioned things like you could take Kultira stuff from one expansion and reuse that, but like, I don't know, Death Knights, why were there Death Knights? We don't know who the Lich King is yet in vanilla, so no. Monks, we don't know who like Pandaren are there monks? Have they found it here yet? They're not here yet. I don't know who a monk is. Demon Hunter? Is Illidan, like, bouncing around yet? No, that's TBC, so no, obviously not. Evokers, do we know who Evokers are? No, because that hasn't happened. You know what I mean? This is classic. If something is going to be added, there has to be a story reason why they're added. Also, Death Knight, you could do Death Knight and be like, who the fuck's the Lich King? It's like Arthas maybe is like, oh no, Arthas is sort of cemented, but I was going to say like originally, way before Arthas, there's Death Knights, there's Ner'zhul's Death Knights from like early stuff, pre-World War, like Northrend, pre the Frozen Throne. There's like Ner'zhul had Death Knights, so like there's that angle as well. Alternate angles. The whole point is alternate. Let's not walk that same path. Let's do things differently, but in keeping with the old ways. New class race combos. It's I don't know, to say like they're iconic, don't touch them. I think some things you could absolutely, like, some things make sense, but I don't want this bullshit where it's like, let's have a fucking undead paladin, because that's fun, isn't it? It's like, no, is it? No. Things like, I'm thinking like human hunter. Yeah, that's like reasonable. I don't mind any race being a hunter, like, you know how to use a gun and a bow? Cool beans, man. Go find an animal and give it some meat. Good to go. But like a paladin is like, in fact, you know what, that one I would be inclined, you could say have hunters be everything. Shamans, I'd maybe like have an alliance so you could be like, I don't mind a dwarf shaman, but like dwarf shaman, yeah, I mean there are like dwarves that are like the wind tribes and I was gonna say wind fury tribes, or you know what I mean, like wind hammers and all that stuff. You could vibe that in, but let's not be having this like stuff where there's just like nothing. There's no way that would work. That's like I don't like that. I don't think. I mean, yeah, in keeping with the sense, I'm fine with the class racing class combos. That's not like a massive restriction. Should the Horde have paladins and alliance have shamans? See, that's a tough one because I'm thinking like shamans on alliance I can like vibe with a little bit, but like paladins on Horde, who? It's not going to be an orc. Definitely not going to be undead. Not going to be a troll. It has to be a tauren, right? I could see a tauren being a paladin, honestly. Vibe wise, RP wise, like tauren, all about like nature, keeping everything nice. I could see a tauren like befriending alliance, learning the ways of the paladin. Orcs, absolutely not. Undead, absolutely not. Trolls, absolutely not. Trolls, almost, but not. They're druid, man. A troll, yeah, you can be a troll druid, right? Can you be? You can't be a troll druid in vanilla. I would rather see a troll be a druid than a paladin, but for sure. But yeah, I'm umming and ahhing on that. I do like the idea that each faction does have their like special, specific thing, but I think, in fact, you know what? Leave it as it was in vanilla, but seeing as make sure a paladin can tank, heal, and DPS, and is basically like a support class, and make it so that a shaman can tank, heal, and DPS, and it's a support class. It's a different support class. You're getting your like might and wisdom and stuff from paladins, and you're getting your wind fury and stuff from shamans. I'd maybe leave it as that. In fact, like don't give like an alliance some kind of wind fury and a horde a new buff to counterpart it. Nah, fuck it. They're different buffs, man. It's different things. Yeah, you know what? I think we could leave it. I don't know. Could be nice to have that difference of like this faction can only get this certain thing, and this faction can only get this certain thing. It's kind of like a bit interesting. Should classes be reworked? Absolutely, yes. I think they should absolutely be. Not quality of life stuff at all. No. Some spells that modernize ability rotations. Ret Paladin. No. What do you mean? Ret Paladin's like, in the grand scheme of things, it's not a problem. You know what I mean? Like, there are things like the Shaman tree has plus dodge, plus shield specialization, plus an ability that gives you like 30% damage reduction, but they can't tank, so it doesn't matter. So it's all for nothing. And Prop Paladin is like, oh, let's tank, but you're never going to taunt a thing. Just fucking put a taunt on like Judgment or something and call it a day, man. It's like simple. Add 6% like crit chance reduction onto a talent that already exists and have taunt on fucking Judgment, and boom, you're there. Like, or have like a special seal that taunts, you know what I mean? Same with Shaman, have like one of your shocks is just like a taunt shock, boom, simple. Plus 6 crit chance reduction. I thought, do you even need that? Yeah, you need the like plus 6% crit chance reduction, right? That's about it. Other than that, just like make it fun, man. Make them possible. Don't do this thing where you put some drip feed some shit into a talent tree where it's like, ooh, you might be able, maybe you can tank as a shaman, and then behind the scenes be like, you can't. It's actually fucked. So it's a waste of talent points. Either get rid of that shit or make it fucking possible. But yes, I think there should be class changes, absolutely. What I don't think there should be is these like convenience things of like, no, you don't need convenience things. Well, I say that totem thing is like not the worst. Putting down 4 totems at the same time. But summoning gate, no. Combo point persistence. I don't know. Rogues are gonna hate me for saying this, but like, you're building combo points on the target because you're fighting that target. You're learning how to fight that target, so you're building up combo points every time you attack it. If you then swap to another target, you lose your points because you're not attacking. You've built something up on something. You don't get to just spend that on something else. You know what I mean? There's like, I don't know, you can roleplay reasons for and reasons for against, but I'd be inclined to just say go crazy with it just to a degree of like, because we've had a lot of vanilla, we've had what I don't want, right? What I don't want is where you have these weird things where it's like seal twisting on a paladin. It's like, oh great, let's just do this really awkward thing that is like not intended, and it's like a really weird sort of thing. but now we've like built foundations on top of this weird thing. They've basically built an unsteady platform, and instead of going, we should fix that platform and do something else, no, we'll just build more buildings on top of this platform, and it gets wobblier and wobblier, and now we're doing this weird shit where it's like, I must have some like swing timer and an add-on that times this thing and an add-on that times this thing so that I can do this strange thing where I play the fucking keyboard, play the piano on my keyboard, and I get to do like 12% more damage. Rethink it at that point. If that's what if people are doing like things that are not really intended, I suppose, to a degree, then it kind of gets a bit weird. And I get that that's like, oh, that's the flavour of it, but it's like, fucking hell, it's so awkward. Why not just make it less weird, man? Like, I don't know. But yeah, I'm kind of just say go crazy with it. Like, fucking, they were going to do some like buckler shit with rogues so they could tank. Put that back in, you know what I mean? Put a melee hunter maybe. Have a fucking healer hunter where he's like, I don't know, a fucking pet sending in bandages or something. I don't know. But again, it's less about like, it's less about, oh, should we change things, shouldn't we, or whatever. It's just that the changes that you make should be like, in like, just not the convenient stuff. That's what I don't like. This weird thing of like it's just the vibe with retail is so off, where everything, it just feels useless outside of some like buff, outside of like a power up phase or these weird ramp phases and stuff. I don't think it should. I think that's not very nice as much. I don't know. There's a vanilla vibe, and you need to maintain that, and that needs to be like thought out a lot. This shouldn't just be like, just put that thing in from retail, whatever. Anyway, of the following, which is the most important change needed to raid buffs in Classic Plus? You may want to pick multiple, but only pick your biggest concern. This question refers to 1 hour long buffs, not Paladin Blessings. We'll ask you about raid buffs later. Not Paladin Blessings. Raid buff should cost less mana. Depends, I suppose. If you're like, buff the shit out of everyone and then drink mana and buff the shit out of everyone, that's not really that convenient. I think the reagents is fine, leave that. I think they could be a single raid wide. I'd be inclined to say like party wide. Raid wide feels like a lot. Multiple classes can buff different things. I think there should be definitely like buff. I don't think I like as much the idea that like multiple classes can do the same buff. I think buff should be a little bit unique to classes. Makes it worth having. If anything, there should be like, to a degree, maybe even more buffs where it's like, you're going to want, in a 40-man group, you're going to see the fucking multicolour raid frames, you know what I mean? Instead of it just being like warrior, you know what I mean? Whoever's the biggest damage will just get them. It's like, well, no, you want everyone to complement each other. I don't know about raid-wide casting. I mean, like, fuck it. Why not? Is that much of a vibe? You're thinking like you're on a raid night, you're raiding for a few hours and you're sat here and everyone's just like, right, we'll go for a toilet break while the paladin just buffs everyone. That's a bit funny for everyone except the paladin, you know what I mean? But maybe it could just be like you're blessing each party group instead of the whole raid group, maybe. I like the reagents. I think keep the reagents. That's like a bit of vibe. You got to go to a vendor. You got to like grab your thing. You run out, then it's like, tough shit. You didn't prepare. You can't buff. You got to like leave. You're going to leave for like 20 minutes, and like, can you do that? Maybe we're going to have to try without buffs. That creates a little bit of like drama where it's like, remember that one time when we got like halfway through the raid and nobody had any reagents, so we had to do the whole half of the raid without any buffs, and it was way harder, but man, it's fucking great, man. We had to like smash through. Less mana, I'm fine with less mana, whatever. Reagents, you got to be reagents, man. And I'm kind of tempted to say like not raid wide cast, but like maybe party wide cast. And these 10-minute buffs, I'm a little bit shitty about. Half an hour, maybe an hour. Well, the repose of 1 hour buffs, not Paladin Blessings. I think I'd just say maybe not cost less mana so you can buff up a bit more. You know, I don't know. Should talent specializations be reworked? What exactly do you mean by that? I think, yeah. In fact, I'd almost want to say not across the board. I want something between these. Some of them are like absolutely fine. Some of them you could fit more vibe in. Some of them you could take out completely useless talents that are never taken, that are just irrelevant, and add like vibe things in there where it's like, ooh, that may not be a DPS buff, but there's like weird. Like I saw there's a private server called Vanilla Plus, and I was reading through all the changes for stuff, and like, for instance, they added stuff, I think, for rogues in combat where it was like, there's some reputation buff. It's like, what the fuck is that, bro? Reputation buff. But then I'm like, maybe like a suave rogue who's getting a little bit, roguish charm. That makes sense. It's like, oh, that's a vibe thing. That's a vibe thing. What I don't want is a talent change where it's like, here is your new rotation. For this season, you're going to be using the fire rotation. That's like Blizzard. It feels like they build classes to have this defined rotation where it's like, this is your rotation. It's nothing to do with the class like affinity. It's just, you're going to be casting basically fire bolts, but instead of them looking like fire, they're going to look like electricity. I don't know. I'd rather have vibe, even if that doesn't get picked as much, but you replace things that never get picked in talents with vibe, where it's like, instead of it being like 1% buff to something you don't ever care about, change it instead to be like 1% buff to reputation. It's like, ooh, that's weird, that's different. So I'd kind of say light I don't want like across the board, that's weird. Some classes are fun. A fourth specialization, I think I'd be inclined to say like yes, this is maybe that with hybrid roles that didn't get fleshed out, but I think honestly potentially leave the door open to having like a new spec for class. I would to a degree, I'd rather see like a new spec for class than to see like whole new classes like the Death Knight or Monk added. Add like, but again, it like adds something maybe that's like in line with vanilla. It's got to be something that honestly is like, this thing needs to be a rolling set of changes throughout Classic Plus, where they're throwing things out at times to the community to be like, we're thinking about doing this thing, we've fleshed it out for this last like couple of weeks, and we're going to see what do you think, you know what I mean? Could be interesting. Should every specialization be competitive in both PvE and PvP? I would be inclined to say, I don't think it's like every spec needs to be perfectly raid PvP viable. Overtuning could break PvE, could break PvP. I'm kind of inclined to say like, say backbench PvP. But that's like, I don't know, that's a bit fucked. That's a weird balancing game for that. I don't know. I don't like how much like the PvE gets kind of fucked over to, although it's not, it's PvP gets fucked over, but I kind of want to just have like, some things need a bit of love. Some classes need a bit of buff, like a little bit of mana regen for something, some way to like get a bit of mana back from something, or just a little bit of buff somewhere, yeah. Dual spec, that's a weird one. I kind of want to say yes. Either I would say yes for dual spec, or this might be even really controversial, but I would, on the other hand, I would be inclined to say remove the ability to unlearn your talents completely. You are what you are. You want to be something else, you fucking make a new character. Tough shit. You make a bad decision, that's fucked. You got to make a new character. That could be really brutal. But I'm like, I lean from one extreme to the other, and I'd be inclined to just say yes for dual spec. But it should be maybe like, make a fucking quest line. Why not? You're talking earlier about like ways to get quests into the game, because it's like, oh, people get to end game and then they don't ever want to do any quests because it's like, I'll just log on once a week to do raids. Fill the world with shit to do, instead of being like, go and spend 1,000 gold that you've earned from like grinding out mining and herbing or from buying gold. Instead it's like, you want dual spec, well, fucking earn it, do this quest line, you know what I mean? So yeah, fuck it, put dual spec in, but have it like earned. Should new professions be added? Yeah, honestly, if you want. They don't have to be, but they absolutely could be. Total WoW did like survival stuff. That's interesting. That's a vibe. That's like, set up a tent every now and then to give you an XP bonus if you sit in it. Stuff like that. Yeah, I'm cool with that. Updated profession. Yeah, I don't think it's just like, make professions relevant. I mean, yeah, I suppose actually maybe you could make it so that you could have more stuff that's like maybe soulbound stuff or upgradable stuff, things like that. I think professions are already relevant, but I think you would want to add like recipes and stuff, drops out in the world, interesting little effects. Yeah, I think I'm alright with that. More profession stuff. I think something that I'm really wary of is the fact that for the longest time, on the first sort of round of like new classic, not vanilla, like classic WoW, when was that? Was that 2019 when it was first came back? There was such a loud crowd that was like, no changes to anything whatsoever. And I get that, because those are a lot of people that hadn't actually played vanilla for so long, for like 15 plus years, and they just wanted to play the old game that they had to get the nostalgia, but we're not at that point anymore. It's like, if you want to go and play vanilla as it is, there are fucking private servers that you can go and do that. They may not have much population, but there are servers. Chronos 5. But you can do that, so I don't want that. Like, been there, done that, did that, had the fucking t-shirt. Now I don't fit in that t-shirt anymore, bro, and I don't want to put that fucking t-shirt on anymore. Like, let's upgrade things. I think most things should be open to be upgraded, but it's the vibe that needs to, like, stay. The not retail vibe, man. I don't know. It's really an awkward thing to find. Oh my god, that was just the intro to the fucking thing. Oh my good lord. What's the, oh, there's many, no. There's a lot of fucking, holy shit. Can you see, like, ooh, let me just have a quick look through this, and then I'll end it here, and maybe we'll do another one, because it's an hour and 6 minutes currently. Which faction do you play? Oh, do I care about that? Both. I don't know. Really? Switch a lot? That's a bit weird. Pick your faction, man. A human, that's understandable. Undead, orc, night elf, yeah, whatever. Gnomes at the bottom. Dwarfs are that low. I don't like 17% of people abyss. That's not a vanilla vibe, dude. Nobody booted up vanilla back in like 2004 and were like, I must play whatever's efficient. They were just like, I want to be an elf. I want to be a dwarf. I want to be a human. I want to be like myself. You know what I mean? I don't know. That scares me. 17%. Makes me want to just say that 17% of people's opinions are wrong. But that's like rude, dude. How old are people? Oh my god. Look at that. I'm at home with all these people. That's fantastic, dude. Love that. That's funny, dude. That's funny. Anyway, why am I'm skipping through like too many of them. How often do you play? Yeah, dude. Feels right. I was gonna say, it's not like you're not playing more than that much, dude. Oh, you can just click anyway, I think. Classic. Wow. Really? That's a lot more people who are like just classic relaunch. Classic anniversary season. Just really, like, more people were doing season of discovery and anniversary than like. I just thought there'd be a lot more, but I didn't tick myself as OG, but I don't know. Not much season mastery. That's understandable. Hardcore's like a whole different cup of tea, man. Never played. 0.1% of people are just like, I have no idea how I got here, dude, but fuck it, I'm answering a survey. Roll TV, yeah, that makes sense. Tanks, yeah, that feels sad, but anyway. Region, EU, fuck yeah, represent. Which of the following labels? Casual Raider, yeah, that makes sense. Leveler. Orcscast Gamers low, Transmog Hunter, yeah. I don't want the Transmog Hunters here. Like, completionist, sure, man. Transmog Hunters, that's not a vibe, dude. That's not a vibe. Doing a raid like 100 times to get a mount, it's like doing it solo 100 times to get a mount is a weird, dude. Grouping up to do it, yeah, sure, baby, but I don't know. Transmog hunting just feels weird, where it's like, I'm just gonna autopilot my character through this raid. Overpowered character, like, who? That's weird. Coming to log in, I'll play for who knows how long. Extremely skeptical, but it depends. Again, 0.4% of people are like, I'm just here to spite the fucking survey. Fuck them. Anyway, so yeah, that's fair dues. Did you play Class 3? Depends on what's shown or promised. Yeah. Oh my god. What the fuck? $60. It goes 60, 40, 20. You fucking nuts, bruv. I thought that would be like 20, then 40, then a tiny sliver of 60. That's wild. But then I suppose retail WoW is like, a new expansion is like $50. So, I don't know, that's a bit weird. Unreal Engine. Wow, look at that. It's fairly split. I mean, 1 obviously is the answer. Although I think I picked 3, didn't I? But because I don't like being like extreme in that sense. Like, it's like, I don't like it, but as long as I don't have to fucking use it. Like, 1 would be like, I don't want it and I don't want anyone to have it. 3 is like, I don't want it and I'm gonna kind of like scrunch my face up at people that do use it, but like, fuck it. I just like, so don't spend all the effort on this shit. You know what I mean? That's not where I want the effort getting spent, if I'm being honest. Models, no. It's got to be OG. Oh, sorry, wrong one. Character models is like, yeah, again, no, I don't want character models. Don't want animations. Spell effects, don't want spell effects. UI, yes. 1 mega server with faction balance enforced. Oh, really? It's not just 1 mega server opt-in. As long as it's not multiple servers. Let's not have multiple servers like where it's just dead. Although some of them can be in these nice little tight-knit communities, but I don't feel like I feel like you kind of want this like weird, wild, overwhelming community of like population. Depends on a lot of factors. How do you feel if Classic had an element of season? Depends, yeah, it depends. Layers, yeah, whatever. Oh, I see. Reduce raid size to 20 and allowed to bring more than 20 if I wanted. Nah, dude, it has to be 40. Oh, that's really sad. What the fuck? Keep it at 40, bruv. Yes, but only to group up. Nah, dude. Nah, it's not. Nah, dude. Summoning stones. No. Let's not do that, dude. No, absolutely no. No, not heroic. I don't want to see a fucking. Don't give me a fucking tint variation of a fucking dungeon. Make another dungeon. Stop being lazy, dickheads. Should there be rated PvE? No, like not like Mythic Plus. No, because I just don't want these things where it's like, how about instead of, Mythic Plus and Heroic Dungeons makes me think like instead of just like doing stuff out in the open world, just do the same dungeon 12 times over in varying degrees of difficulty. That's like that's not a vibe, dude. That's not a vibe. I want to do like many things. I don't want to do one thing. I don't want to sit in a capital, queue up in my group finder, do the one dungeon, finish, I'm back in the capital, queue up again, do the one dungeon again, back in the capital. That's not a vibe. I want to be like out and about doing stuff because there's stuff available to do. That's like kind of the point, I guess. AoE loot, yeah, whatever, I don't care. It is what it is. World buffs don't belong in raids. Glad they said that. How do you feel if Classic trimmed capability? I prefer my add-ons a week cause get the fuck out of here. Happy to see him go. Fuck him. Should level requirement? Yeah, keep the level requirements. Should flying? No. 13% of people can suck a dick. Guilds be implemented? Yes. Good choice. Should they have achievements? Yeah, sure. Should reputations be streamlined? No. Get the fuck out of here. Morons. How do you feel about adding transmog? Transmog bad. 27% is a large number and I don't like that. Separate? No. You should have to carry that shit. If you wanna have fucking toys, you wanna bring a toy to like a raid to set it up to make somebody laugh, you gotta fucking take your bag space. That's a vibe. That's one of those very small vibe things that could be eroded, and then in 6 months' time, 30 of them are eroded, and then we're fucked. Should they have GDP? No. 22% of people are fucking on crack. Should the level cap be increased? Depends, yeah, to a degree. Like, whatever. Yes, new zones. Anyone Azeroth? Yeah, I'd rather the Azeroth than like outside other planets and shit. Yes, should that was to content being added. Should leveling be sped up? No. If anything, it should maybe be slowed down. Should there be more class specific? Yes, lots of it. Should be more epic quest lines? Yes, lots of it. Group based as well, maybe like following changes. Do all of the above plus new bosses and areas within them. Did I even read this? How would you changes? Tune them for any changes. Oh yeah, player power. Keep the spirit, however. Add more complex. Yeah. I suppose, yeah, maybe not exactly as they were, but like tune them as needed, maybe for player power. I don't know. I'm kind of keep them the same, as long as they're just difficult. I don't want them any more. Like I don't want them difficult. Like let's fucking solve a puzzle mid-fight shit. Like just like a little bit more difficult. That could be fun. New raids, yeah, new raids. New playable races, yeah, that already exist. New classes, no. Did I say no? I don't know, but I don't really like these like classes from expansions that won't have obviously come out because it's classic. Let's not reference retail at all, you know what I mean? New combos, yeah, but within lore, that makes sense. Should Horde have paladins? Really? It's a lot of yes. And I don't know. I'm inclined to say that that's one of those vibe things that maybe shouldn't change with like transmog, with holding on to pets, to a degree with AoE looting, with teleporting to dungeons, with already there's a list of things that are like eroding, and there's like vibe that is leaving, and you're going to be like, that's the shit that's like you think you do but you don't. Sorry, that's the you think you do but you don't. Turns out it was actually the long play when he said that. He didn't mean that about classic. He meant about this shit. People are gonna fucking change. Some new spells modernize. I don't like this idea of like modernize ability rotations. That scares me. Just don't completely change. I'd rather say like not quality of life. I was gonna say go crazy with it, but I mean go crazy with it as in like don't fucking make it boring like. Or not, it's not boring like retail, but it's just like, it's this weird fucking thing where it's like, how is it? It's weird. It's weird. Something about retail is fucking weird, dude. The fast-paced shit of everything is so rapid and yet so like inconsequential. Everything is just like everything does nothing, and then this one thing does everything, and then in 30 seconds time you get to do it again. It's weird. I'd rather just be like, bam, I deal some damage. Bam, I deal some damage. Use an ability. Bam, I deal some... Do you know what I mean? That's like a bit more like, raid buff should be single. Yeah, I was going to say like less mana. Definitely not this one. They should... The reagents, again, that's a small bit of a vibe that cannot be eroded. Should not be eroded. I want this one, please. This one, please. This one. Hello? What's going on? Talent specializations. Somewhat with a light touch. Yeah. Yes, but limit to hybrid. Yeah, I kind of be like... Although I could say, honestly, I would rather new specs, a fourth spec for, like, other classes than to have, like, whole new classes to a degree. Keep what's there, build on top of it. Don't add retail shit. I don't want to add the retail shit. No, not every spec needs to be perfectly viable. Overtuning for PvE could break PvP. Yeah, at least as long as it's not like every spec should be viable all the time, everywhere. Perfect balance is like dual spec, yes, but again, there has to be vibe to it. Everything has to be like RP reason. It has to be vibe. New professions be added. Yeah, and then professions be updated to have more endgame relevance. Yeah, cool. I'll take that. Nice. Well, that's the survey for Classic Plus. That's one small chunk of the survey for Classic Plus, and we are at 1 hour, 17 minutes, and 50 seconds. Unless I edit it, in which case you're going to be like, wow, that's way short, but I'm probably not. Dude, this is just a vibe. This is like a podcast. I put some, like, tavern music, WoW music in the background and see how it goes. Anyway, it's long enough as it is, so I'm going to end this and begin the render of such a video. So, see you around.